Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Now I need to preface this video with a few things. First off, I'm ranking all the schools again. The reason why I'm doing this again is because I got like 15 comments yesterday on that video because for some reason YouTube's recommending it. I don't agree with it anymore. I made that video 6 months ago and a lot of people are judging my opinions. I was an uneducated child. That has changed. I have stronger opinions now that in my head make a bit more sense. So that's that. Second, this is for PVE, not PvP. PvP is a completely different beast, and I don't even know how to rank them because I don't do PvP. So if you came here looking for a PvP video, that is wrong. If I get a comment saying, but for PvP, this school's better, I will say, go rewatch the first minute of the video, you sorry fool, alright? Alright, I will literally say that in quotes. Go watch the first minute of this video, you sorry fool, alright? So now that that's out of the way, this is my full ranking of every Wizard101 school in PvE, alright? That's important to note in PvE. Now, I'd like to say some of these are probably controversial opinions. That's okay, but let me know if you disagree with it, all right? I don't mind disagreement, all right? I'm just saying, if you say, but for PvP, I'm going to hit you in the face, all right? So let's just start the video now that I've ranted, all right? And we're starting it with Ice. Now, I'm pretty sure I ranked Ice last time as well, specifically because for PvE, it kind of blows. Now, it's not awful, right? The reason why it's not awful is because they have high health, high resist, and have shields. Those are all decently useful for PvE. But the problem is that their damage is never really high. So specifically for soloing, they're going to have an awful time in the worlds that have higher amounts of health on bosses, right? And don't get me wrong, I think it's actually, I've played Ice before, and I think it is fun to quest the game, but objectively, I think they are the worst of the schools for PvE. Specifically, because they don't get their blade until level 38, which is kind of crazy. That's like nuts. That's way, way in the future. So, I'm gonna try to describe each of these by arc. Arc 1, Ice is awful, is the issue, right? Ice is absolutely hands down the worst for Arc 1. For Arc 2, they're not that bad, but I still think that they're the worst out of the 7, but I think for Arc 3 and 4, they're actually decent. But overall, they're still lower than every other school for me in PvE, at least in regards to that. So that's that, all right? That's the Ice school, all right? If you disagree with me, let me know. Next, we're moving on to the Life School. Now, I struggle putting this one here because the heals are actually useful, right? This could actually go up a spot or even two. It's more that I struggle with certain schools because I know which one for me is definitively the worst and definitively the best. In between is a little bit mixed though, right? But in regards to PvE, Life is actually pretty good. They have semi-decent damage, certain things like that. I think the one thing that holds them back for me is the fact that Rat Spin, you can't really get until Zafaria unless you spend a ton of crowns. So if you could get Rat Spin somehow before that without spending a ton of crowns, Life would definitely be higher. It's just the fact that they don't really have a hit-all spell that brings them down significantly. But I definitely think that Life is really good. A lot of these schools for me are really good. The only one I dislike immensely is Ice while in PvE, but I actually do like everything above this, so keep that in mind. I just think that Life for me isn't the way to go in PvE for me, right? Keep in mind that this is all subjective. It's not objective, right? This isn't objectively, this is the best. It's like, this is what I consider, all right? That's important to know. Moving on. This one probably shouldn't come as a surprise to you if you've watched my Let's Play series, but Balance is next. Balance is extremely difficult to do in PvE. if you have a questing partner, they're really, really good in regards to their blades and whatnot. But the problem is that solo brings them down significantly, right? Arc 1 is probably actually their best arc because of Judgment, but Arc 2 is a slog and a pain to do for balance. Now, Arc 3 is actually really good for a balance again, but that Arc 2 is painful, and it is very painful to get through. I'd like to note that you could switch balance and life for me. Those are interchangeable. But, you know, realistically, balance should be lower on the list because balance is difficult in PvE. If you want a challenge though, do it. All right, I just think it's very painful to do, and you're probably not gonna have the best time with it. All right, so keep that in mind. Next on our list, and I struggle to put this one here, but realistically it is a middle tier school for me, is Myth. Myth is really good nowadays. It's actually one of the better schools, but the problem is that everything above it, in my opinion, is just objectively better than it, right? This is where we start getting into objectively better, because these ones are interchangeable, but there's certain things that make them better. So for example, Myth, the reason why Myth is middle tier is because they have a lot of stuns, right? The problem is that every enemy has 100% stun block, Celestia to Chrysalis. That's painful, considering your #1 biggest strength does not exist. Minions can be useful, but they just stop being useful at a certain point. They just fall off completely. So I think for me, that's why Myth is middle tier, but don't get me wrong, I do love Myth. Next one for me is Fire. Now, this, in my opinion, Fire and Myth could be switched. They're both really good and really powerful and really balanced, which is why I like them. They have decent health, decent resist, but they have decently high damage as well, which is why I love playing them the most. I think Fire and Myth could be switched, but I will keep it this way because I think the overtimes of Fire can be extremely useful, and they also do have really high damage, high level. Like, for example, I have 165 damage on my Fire right now, which is probably, you know, unmatched by schools such as Ice, Life, Balance, right? You're not going to be able to reach 165 damage. But I definitely think that Fire is a good choice, a good school. It's just not what I would consider to be top tier, right? So far we have Ice, Life, Balance, Myth, Fire, right? Which leaves 2 schools, and this should come not as a surprise to you, but this is my ranking. So Storm is next. Now, I'd like to say, in regards to my favorite schools, this would change dramatically, right? This entire list would change dramatically, but I actually don't like playing Storm. I don't think Storm is a fun school to play, but objectively, it is really good for PvE. The spells are so ridiculously powerful that you can easily get through most of the game solo, right? And once you get Tempest, you're set. My Storm, the Storm Let's Play series I've done, which I'm in Avalon currently, legitimately was easy. I didn't have a time where it wasn't really easy. I didn't die that often because I would kill the enemy before they even hit me. At level 60, I had over 100 damage, which is crazy. That's like ridiculously good considering that my balance level 100 only has 100 damage, right? So genuinely, Storm is extremely powerful and good at PvE. Is it my favorite? No, but it definitely deserves its second place. And now we get to the top tier school, which in my last video, this is the main reason why I made this video, because in my last video, God, did I mess up. I don't know where I put Death, but it wasn't at top when it really should have been. So at top of the list is Death. Now, obviously, if you've played Death, you know how ridiculously good it is for PvE. The healbacks are insane. Ever since the update that made it so that enchants do full enchant on healbacks, instantly made it insane. Scarecrow buff is crazy. And if you can somehow get your hands on Ship of Fools, you're literally set for the entire game. So genuinely, I think Death is the best PVE school hands down. I don't know really how anyone could argue that there is a better PVE school, because Death is legitimately that much better, because you will never ever die. With healbacks, it's just ridiculous, because any damage they do, you just heal back immediately, right? And if you really need to, say the boss is about to kill you and you're in a panic, you just hit and then you heal back. You might need to hit them again, but at least you're not dead, right? So that's that. They also have Sacrifice, which is incredibly good, incredibly versatile. Have things such as Dark Pact, which gives them more blades. Their blade plus 40% is really good as well. And they have Feint, obviously, which is really useful. So that's why I would rank Death top tier. That's this list. Please note, these are all opinions, all right? These are all opinions. You can disagree with them. Let me know. I think the ones that people are going to disagree with the most are probably Fire, maybe, Myth, maybe, Life, definitely. I think there's going to be a few people who are like, Life should be higher. And there's definitely going to be the Ice Wizard gang in my comment section that are like, please stop hating on Ice, and I'm just going to say no. But that's it for today. If you enjoyed, please drop a like at the sub button. I appreciate all of you and all your support recently. Probably going to live stream maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But I'll see you then. Have a fantastic day. Thank you all for watching.